97.3. Come on. Let's go.
Traffic Avenue, the show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh, the Traffic Avenue. Traffic Avenue, the show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh, the Traffic Avenue.
Flex. Buckle up and join the best. Let's see, relieve your stress. So yes, let the music soothe your soul and keep it going just to refresh. Buckle and enjoy the ride from 2 to the half of the 5. Mondays to Fridays happening live. Where we gon' have a ball, you can text your guys. Let me tell you what you really gotta do. You can count on us, we come through. We got everything you need, that's true. Are you ready for the Traffic Avenue? Let me tell you what you really gotta do. You can count on us, we come through. We got everything you need, that's true. An applause for the Traffic Avenue.
Traffic Avenue, the show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh, the Traffic Avenue. Traffic Avenue, the show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh.
Detailed news, unparalleled coverage. City News on 97.3 FM.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
City News.
It's 17:30 GMT. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. I am Umaru Sanda Amadu, and tonight I'm here with
Akusia Oche.
Coming up over the next 90 minutes, President Akufo-Addo takes swift action to restructure his government following the exit of Cecilia Dapaah. We'll tell you about her replacement, Frida Prempeh. Also coming up, Ebuakwa South MP Samuel Atachia chairs 7-member committee set up by Parliament to probe the leaked tape on IGP Dampari. And later on Eyewitness News.
The question is that the Criminal Offences Amendment Bill 2022 is now read the second time. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Honourable members, the Criminal Offences Amendment Bill 2022 is duly read the third time and passed.
Parliament passes law to abolish the death penalty and remove it from the laws of the country. We'll hear from the proponent of the bill. And still on Eyewitness News, we take you to the Kintampo North municipality of the Bono East region, where a shocking video has emerged of pupils in a classroom, SDA school that is, climb onto their desks and tables to save them from being swept away by flood waters that invaded their classrooms. Stay with 97.3 Citi FM for more on this and many other stories on Eyewitness News. And in business,
businesses dissatisfied with Bank of Ghana's tightening of monetary policy rates, insisting the increase will push them out of business.
That's in 50 minutes from the business desk of Citi FM and Citi TV. Eyewitness News is live across Ghana on a number of affiliate stations. I could give you a list of stations that you can listen to us on if you're going outside Accra. We are in the Northeast region on Eagle 94.1 FM in Wale Wale. That's the hometown of the Vice President. We are in Laura on Westlink 88.1 FM. That's in the Upper West region. We are in Zuarungu on 88.3 FM. That's Word FM in Upper East region. In Yendi, the traditional capital of Dagbang, we are on Dasuma 99.1 FM. That's Northern region. In the Volta region, we are on Akpini Radio 96.7 in Pando and Heritage 107.3 FM in Hohwe, the only constituency with an MPP MP for the Volta region. In the Ashanti region, we are on Orange 107.9 FM in Kumasi. We are on Hames 106.5 FM in Goso, that's up Ahafo region. In the Bono region, we are on Greener 95.9 FM in Sunyani. We go to the Western region, we are on Premier 100.5 FM Beach 105.5 FM, and Sky Power 93.5 FM, all of them in Takrady. We are live on YouTube, we are live on Facebook, we are interactive. Join us with your messages on 0549 986 996. That's the WhatsApp number, 0549 986 996. You can send tweets using the hashtag Citi Newsroom. Tweet at Umaru Sanda or at Citi973. Let's settle for details of our stories. And the first one has to do with Cecilia Dapaah. Well, she resigned from Akufo-Addo's government. That happened on Saturday. Today, Tuesday, the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has named a replacement for her at that Ministry for Sanitation and Water Resources. Sami Wiafi is our correspondent at the presidency. He's in studio. Sami, you're welcome to Eyewitness.
Thank you very much, Sanda.
So who gets to succeed Cecilia Dapaah?
Madam Frida Prempeh, she's the Member of Parliament for the Tano North constituency and currently serves as a Minister of State at the presidency. So she gets to replace Madam Cecilia Dapaah.
I see. Now, she has served as in other portfolios in the past?
Yes, she first came to Parliament in 2013. Since then, she served the good people of the Tano North constituency. Well, she became a Minister of State or was first appointed to office in 2017 as a Deputy Minister of Gender and Children and Social Protection in that particular ministry. Mm-hmm. But then she was moved later to become a Deputy Minister of Works and Housing. And then went into the 2020 election. When the MPP was retained, she was appointed as a Minister of State at the Ministry of Works and Housing. A previous ministry, she served as a Deputy Minister. When Asenso Boachi was appointed the main or the substantive minister, she was appointed as a Minister of State at that particular ministry. There was a mini reshuffle, and that moved her from that particular ministry to the presidency as a Minister of State. So today, she's been elevated to be the Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources.
So she's a minister currently, a full minister?
A full Minister of State.
Except that she didn't have a portfolio.
She didn't have a portfolio. Normally, these ministers serve at the behest of the president. And so in instances where there's a shortfall in a particular ministry, the president will appoint them to go and take care of such issues within those ministries.
I see. Who else has been appointed today?
Well, a statement which was signed by Eugene Ahin, Director of Communication, also announces that the president, in consultation with the Ministers of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration and Roads and Highways, have also appointed Deputy Minister for Roads and Highways and Member of Parliament for the Ifija Secretary East constituency, Mavis Nkansa Bedu, as the Deputy Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, and Deputy Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration and Member of Parliament for the Tatale constituency, Thomas Imba, as Deputy Minister for Roads and Highways. And the statement says the appointment take immediate effect. So these two ministries and their deputies have just been swapped.
So they were already deputies?
They were already deputies.
They just been 10.
So Mavis was a deputy minister at the Roads and Highways, a deputy to Amwakwata. Mm-hmm. So he is moving to the Foreign Affairs Ministry to now go and become a deputy minister to Madam Shelley Ayokobuche. Okay. And then the Tatale MP, Thomas, is moving to the Ministry of Roads and Highways as a deputy minister to Kwesi Amwakwata, the substantive minister.
So this is a mini reshuffle?
Sort of.
Just a small one. But we have a new replacement there. And I think from my reading, none of them will be going for vetting.
None of them, since they're already serving as deputy ministers, they won't face the vetting committee. And all of them are also certain members of parliament as well.
Okay, thank you so much. Sami Wiafi is our correspondent at the presidency. And talking about Cecilia Dapaah, some update. Last night on Eyewitness News, we brought you news. Fred Duho reported for us from her residence at Abolition. Well, she was arrested. We reported that to you. The officials of OSP went to her house to search the house. We reported that to you. Later in the evening, around 10 p.m. thereabout, she was granted bail. We have reported on Citi Newsroom that some more items or some significant stuff had been found in her house by officials of the OSP. But TV3 is reporting that some more cash was found in her house, and it took officers of the Office of Special Prosecutor 5 hours to count that cash. That's what TV3 has been reporting. We haven't verified that, but we do know that some material or some items had been taken from the home yesterday. The official statement has not come from the OSP, but the report is that it took them 5 hours to count money that was found, some more money that was found in her house yesterday. That's a report coming through from TV3. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Do you have some reactions in relation to Cecilia Dapaah? Okay, we take a break here. We'll be back to tell you about that leaked tape on Inspector General of Police George Ekuffo-Dampare. Parliament has taken an action on that. Please stay with us.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Bro, what's up? I beg, where the Total Energy service station day for here?
Still up here. Tornado. Charlie. I beg. Make I take picture with you first, then I go show you the Total station. Today, Instagram go cry. Hey. Oh, about the directions. Go forward small. You go meet a watch seller like Santan. The Total station is right after.
Thanks, bro. But now you know be Total. It be Total Energies. You the bab.
Tornado. You do all. Quiet.
The time is here, starting 24th July. Buy fuel or lubricants from any Total Energy service station and win free amazing prizes instantly. Promo is valid while stocks last. Terms and conditions apply. Total Energies, energizing your future.
Hello, Auntie Araba. Hey, Bugger, how are you doing today? I want to buy Pepsodent Cavity Fighter, but I don't have enough money. So what are you going to do? Can you give me the big size? You know, as for me, I'll pay the balance later. Today, no credit. I haven't sold much this morning. If you don't have enough money for the big size, why don't you try the 120-gram pack? There's a 120-gram pack? Introducing the new Pepsodent Cavity Fighter in 120-gram pack size. More affordable and convenient. Get yours today from any supermarket near you. Every smile matters. This advert is FDA approved.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
You're welcome back. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We are coming to you from our studios in Adabraka in Accra. We are coming to you around the globe via citinewsroom.com. Let me bring some of your messages that are coming through. This one says, good evening. Cecilia Dapaah's case truly gives a clear signal on how some government appointees or government officials are not in to serve the needs of the people, but in for their interests. Truth be told, if you are a politician and you have this amount without any intention of establishing a hub for personal development, then please, I am sorry. That's a message coming through. Let me bring another message. Ghana has no locus. It says that Ghana has no locus to go for IMF bailout, looking at the huge amount of dollars in the former sanitation minister's bedroom. And who knows the amount of dollars in her colleagues' current ministers and CEOs' rooms. In fact, Ghana is richer than IMF because I believe that some current ministers have double the amount that was found in Cecilia Dapaah's house. That's Honorable Ayuba from Yagbong in Daboya Mankarigu constituency. This one says the restructuring of the presidency must affect other equally key ministers, including the finance and health. The president should not try to be restructuring to cover up the rot in his government. That's Aka Paul Jr. from Ahafo-Mim. More messages coming through. This one is Hardy from Pig Farm, and he says a failed government with selfish interests is embarrassing. The day goes by, too many rots in the system. This government is just doing very good in the things they spoke against some years back, to the extent that they are being. I won't read that one. Let me bring you a few more other messages that are coming through. One would have thought that the president would have taken advantage of the exit of Cecilia Dapaah to downsize his government, but alas, no. Well, there's a new minister there. This one says, good evening, Mara. I think it is high time we, the youth in this country, started ransacking. I'm not going to read that. That's lawlessness they are planning to engage on. This one says, the catchphrase, it says, I hope Madame Prempe will not become a photocopy of Cecilia Dapaah. That's Chris from Ashali Boche. And this one too says, good evening, Maru. What an expedition by OSP. Yesterday, after almost a week of public outcry, you now move to an empty home in search of what? The OSP should give us a break. That's Jones Adoboy in La. More messages are coming through. Let me take the last one. It says, Nana Poku from Isuom. He says, this is a mere formality to wash hair of any wrongdoing, and nobody should take the OSP investigation seriously. The president has already cleared her in advance. They won't do FOCO, but I appeal to the rest of the Akufo-Addo appointees who are keeping huge sums of money in their rooms to bring it, or else we'll mention their names. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We are coming to you from our studios in Adabraka in Accra. Let me now move on to something that became topical last week or so, 2 weeks ago. It has to do with a leaked tape that came into the public domain, which leaked tape supposedly featured a COP, a commissioner of police, who was announcing or complaining about how Dr. George Akufo-Dapaah was not going to do the bidding of the government in breaking the oath and the call for him to be sacked. The House of Parliament had been interested in this particular case, and today the Speaker announced a 7-member committee of MPs to investigate or probe this particular matter. The committee members, 6 of them are from the House of Parliament. I noticed that the Honourable James Agaga's name is in there as one of the persons who was going to be doing this probing. Let me just get the list is somewhere else. I'm just going to find that and then share with you. But the chairman of the committee, I'll be speaking to in a bit. However, a senior law lecturer and someone who once worked in the Shraj, actually works with the Shraj, is a lawyer, a criminal law lecturer, and a lawyer. Dr. Annan is the only person on the committee who is not a member of Parliament, and we are told that he is going to provide expertise to the committee. Let's speak to the chairman of the committee, the Honourable Samuel Atacha. He's former Minister for Works and Housing. He's MP for Ebuakwa South, and he's a lawyer. Honourable, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you, my good friend.
I was struggling to just raise a list of the members of your committee. I'm just working on that. I'll be doing that after our conversation. But what is your committee supposed to do specifically? Any terms of reference you want to share with us, please?
Well, in the first instance, we need to verify the source of the tape, and which will also require that the human persons who are involved and their voices are very clear on the tape should be summoned before the committee and give the context of the tape. The members of the committee will then have the opportunity to, if you like, cross-examine them. And then we make the particular findings of fact. We also have the remit to interrogate as to whether or not the tape has serious national security implications for the nation, having in mind the necessity to have a very free and fair election and also a violent-free, elections. So if people are now trying to manipulate the police hierarchy because of the fact that they don't trust them and the rest of them, it's a cause for concern. So these are the 2 major issues that will be our remit.
Okay, now this your committee's work will be probing into the persons who supposedly had their voices recorded, but we don't even know who they are. Are you going to go fishing, or you're going to rely on the claims being made that it is person A or B whose voice is heard in there?
We will not do any fishing at all. What is very important is that if we have prima facie evidence that the voice on the particular tape is Mr. X, he will appear before the committee. And then you make a positive judicial confession that, look, the voice on this tape, is it yours? And if he says yes, then that's it. But if he's denying that that is not his voice, we know what to do. But whoever it is, it's very easy to ascertain, who the individuals on the tape. I think it's not be too difficult. And they need to own up, or, they will face some serious perjury consequences. That's how I see the way to go. If it's your voice, it's your voice. Just give the context of why you are saying what you are saying. And the members of the committee will interrogate the matter and see whether what was happening has serious national security implications, having due regard to we approaching our election year.
In this day of artificial intelligence, your committee would have a lot of work to do, because if people show up and said it was not their voice, what are you going to do?
Well, we use the expertise maybe outside the police, to ascertain it, because the matter involves the police. We could deploy the national security. We can do that. Whatever is needful to aid a very good and genuine investigation, we will do it. And that shouldn't be a problem at all. The only thing which is very, very important is that we should do this job with utmost good faith. That's what I believe should be the case. We shouldn't come with our political lenses at all. And that is how we can now have the benefit of the result of the investigation. If we come with our partisan views on the matter, then it wouldn't aid a good investigation. And therefore, our recommendations will be very jaundiced.
Well, it will be really difficult for you to take away the politics, because I'm looking at the members of the committee, the membership. You have 3 MPs from either side, and then you have an independent person who is not a member of parliament. So it definitely is going to be a tie if you were to vote. It means your work is going to be really difficult because you have an even number of NDC and MPP MPs to superintend over and come up with a report that is generally accepted. How are you going to do that?
Well, I cannot see how we should vote on the obvious. If we do a proper interrogation of the matter and people come and make admissions, what are you going to vote on? Unless people are going to be very awkward and crooked before a committee, which I believe they are going to swear them on oath. Mind you, when we sit like that, we have the powers of the High Court, and we exercise those powers. I don't see how anybody in his right mind will say that let's be partisan. Are you going to defend somebody's voice because you are in party X or Y, or you let the voice, be analyzed and the full implications gathered as a finding of fact?
I'm saying this because, it's out there in the public that the person whose voice was heard in there and the person who actually did the recording is a former regional chairman of the New Patriotic Party. Now, immediately that is dropped in there, is a high possibility that everything that will be discussed at that committee level would be politicized on those lines because, it's a member of the MPP who is sitting in the committee answering questions.
I don't think by the sheer fact that he's a member of the MPP will give him special dispensation to change the facts. I don't think so at all. On the contrary, if he claims a member of MPP and he believes in what he said, then he should repeat it. That is what I believe in. That is what I thought was going on. Because what is very important for the committee to do is to get people to make admissions that this is my voice. And the rest of it, the consequences will kick in.
Very well.
If he says that's not his voice, we'll use all the intelligence means available to ascertain whether it's his voice or not.
Very well.
But if you say that somebody is coming from an MPP background, and therefore people should ignore the tape and give him an MPP treatment, that will not be a committee of parliament. That will be something else.
Okay. When should we expect you to start sitting, and what's the duration?
Well, we were not giving timelines, but it is so important the way the speaker said we should tackle the matter. We will give you the timelines very soon when we start the process. We'll tell you that we believe that we are going to commence work X time or Y time, and if you give us a couple of days or a few weeks, we'll be able to end the matter, depending on the flow of evidence or the gathering of evidence, as it were.
Can we get the opportunity to see your work live on television? Would you grant us that permission as media to bring our camera equipment?
I do not think that will be out of place. We'll seek audience with the speaker, and if he grants us that dispensation, why not? So far as the matters of public concern, why should it be in camera? There is not going to be an in camera investigation. So if the press, are ready to, I'll come around and listen. Why not?
Okay. Very well. Yes. I'm not sure I've seen this before, where you have a committee of parliament, but which includes someone who is not an MP. We see that Dr. Isaac Latianan is on your committee. He's not a member of parliament. How does that work?
Yeah, he becomes a resource person, if you like, a consultant. So where there are very technical areas, we'll proffer a view or give sound professional advice. And that is it. It's not going to be somebody who's going to determine how the committee works, But what he can do, now when we're having a quandary or we are at cross purposes or we have a challenge, he could bring his expertise to bear on the proceedings, and that could aid proper interrogation. I think that is his role, a consultant.
Okay, can he vote?
I do not think he has a voting power because he's not a member of the committee.
Very well. Thank you so much for speaking to us, Honorable.
My pleasure, as always.
That's the Honorable Samuel Atachi, and he's Member of Parliament for Ebuakwa South. He's chairing the committee that has been set up by the Speaker of Parliament to probe that leaked tape, which tape supposedly talks about the works of the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Akufo-Dampare, and whether or not his loyalty is to the governing party or otherwise. Now, let me just say that the other members of the committee are, so aside Asachi, who I've just spoken to, who is chairman, we have Honorable Iyabuama, Honorable Ophelia Mensah. So those are the two from the MPP side. And on the NDC side, we have the Vice Chair, Honorable James Agalga, and Honorable Eriko Poku, and the Honorable Peter Tubu. So these are the three from the NDC side. And then the technical person is a lawyer, a human rights expert in the name of Dr. Isaac Lati, and then he will be the serving person to anchor the investigation of the committee. The clerk will definitely be there to support the work of the committee too. That's information that we've just picked up from the House of Parliament. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Talking about Parliament, the House has passed a law to abolish the death penalty. We currently have the death penalty on our books, but we are told it has not been used for more than 30 years. Now, there's been a move to have it removed, and then today we are told the decision has been made. Let's listen to the Speaker of Parliament, the Honourable Abansumana Kingsford Bagbin, making the announcement in the House today about the position of the House on the death penalty. Listen.
And the question is that the Criminal Offences Amendment Bill 2022 being now read the second time. Those in favour say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Honourable members, the Criminal Offences Amendment Bill 2022 is duly read the third time and passed.
An act to amend the Criminal Offences Act 1960, Act 29, to substitute the penalty of life imprisonment for the death penalty and to provide for related matters.
The Criminal Offences Amendment Bill 2022 is read the third time and passed.
So that's the Speaker of Parliament, the Honourable Abansumana Kingsford Bagbin. Dr. Harry Agbanu was a union executive, teacher union executive in the past. He's also a religious lecturer at the University of Ghana. Doc, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you very much. Good evening to your cherished listeners.
Good evening to you. You have been opposed to the abolishment or abolition of this particular law. Now, the gavel is down, the law is out, at least, of course. I'm not sure whether this will need presidential assent or it becomes law immediately. But effectively, what it means that the death penalty is off the books. You should be disappointed.
Yes, not entirely disappointed, but all I know is that it will seem as though the floodgate has been opened for violent criminal activities by some members of our society. That is unfortunate, and I'm just praying that the opportunity is not being created for people to take the law into their own hands by engaging in, this mob action.
You have not been convinced, despite all the debate in the chamber on this law before it was abolished.
There has not been any sound argument in favor of the abolishment of the death penalty, apart from saying that Ghana has signed to some international protocols and that we have leaders for the past 30 years who have not signed for the killing of this. Apart from those two arguments and the moot argument from the perspective of human rights, there has not been any sound argument in favor of this action that has been taken by Parliament.
I see. Please indulge me. I want you to be on the line. I want to hear from the proponent of the bill, so that maybe he may convince you just once and for all before we get off this conversation. The Honourable Member of Parliament for Madina is Francis Xavier Sosu. Sir, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mara, and a very good evening to your cherished listeners.
Thank you. Just educate me. Are you the only person who brought this to the House because it was a private member's bill, or there were other MPs who supported you?
I was the only one who brought it to the House, but obviously I brought it because the rules allows for private members to do that.
Okay, so I want to know
a single sponsor, or it could be multiple sponsors. Yeah.
But you're the only sponsor. You're the only sponsor.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
And today, when the gavel came down, was it a vote or it was a voice vote that the Speaker agreed with the ayes?
Well, it was a voice vote that the Speaker agreed with the ayes.
Okay. Were there any vehement opposition or members to your bill?
Well, I think that people have made various arguments in opposition. For example, what I just said, that they may be handing over the country to criminals. People also have argued that there is some deterrence effect of the death penalty. And a few others also have argued that the abolition seemed to favor only let's say, the people convicted rather than victims. In other words, what becomes of victims of crimes that attract death penalty. So these were some of the major arguments I've heard. A few others were on religious grounds, but they were not very strong arguments because in Christianity, we all know the issues about Christianity and how Jesus would treat a woman who was caught in adultery, who was due for death penalty. In fact, he essentially just forgave her and let her go. In Islam, there are several provisions, including teachings of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which suggest that even when people are caught or are convicted of punishment or of offenses that may attract even death penalty, if they can atone or pay or recompense for their sins, they could be forgiven. So there are higher values of mercy and higher values of forgiveness and higher values of love, both in Islam and Christianity. And also, clearly, we must also understand that the laws that we do are not necessarily religious laws. To that extent, people who are convicted today were not convicted under Christian law or Sharia law or any other law. They were convicted under civil law, which for over 30 years has not worked. And so these are some of the arguments that we've heard. And I could hear from the other side the same argument saying that there hasn't been any sound argument. I think that there have been very, very sound arguments in support of abolition. And not only are those arguments sound, those arguments are also research-based. In fact, for all those who have spoken against abolition of death penalty, I'm yet to see one single research pointing towards or supporting the arguments they make. For example, when you take deterrence, there are several researches conducted in Africa and Europe and other countries, even in the US, where they retain death penalty at the federal level, but at state level, many states have moved away from death penalty. There have been comparative studies between states with death penalty and states without death penalty. And consistently, the evidence available shows that in states where there are death penalties, there is increased murder and violent crime. And states where there are no death penalties, the society naturally grows to become more civil, and such violent crimes reduce. And when it comes to Africa, there are several evidence pointing to that. And so the argument of deterrence has already been diffused by research. And then the issue of no president ever signing, it's a very critical issue because, Umaru, when somebody is sentenced to death, there is a legitimate expectation of death. And so the victim do not have closure, nor the one who has been convicted. because now the person is kept on the show for like several years. And the one who is also sent on the floor is also not killed. So there is no closure within the system. And also we say that death penalty is too final. When you read the Constitutional Review Commission's report, you read the government white paper, you read the views of the Chief Justice, Her Ladyship Justice Tokonu, you read the views of Justice Doche in Dexter Johnson's versus the Republic, you read the views of almost all Supreme Court justices who have recently been nominated and were vetted and questioned on these matters. Everyone, including the publication by the military, the Christian Council, Ghana Catholic Bishops Conference, everyone has said that there could be mistake. You could, for the fact that you could kill someone who you shouldn't have killed. So it's difficult to endorse death penalty when you know that we could make mistakes. And, the last time when the debate was ongoing, B.T. Baba made it very clear on the floor of Parliament. Now, even as a director of operation for Ghana prisons, when they were selecting him one of those days, a name was added, he was executed, only for it to turn out to be a mistaken identity. So these are the reasons why I believe that today Parliament did the needful and made Ghana proud in the Committee of Nations. This means that Ghana is about the 28th African country to have abolished the penalty. In the world, I'm sure we'll be joining some 128 other countries who have already completely abolished the penalty. And so I think this is a good thing for Ghana.
I see. I know that it's been passed. That will be it. But for people who are still not convinced, well, the law still binds them. One of them is on the other line. I just want to ask him if he's convinced by your explanation, and then I'll come back to you. So if you don't mind, kindly stay on the line. Dr. Harry Agbanu, you've listened to the Member of Parliament, the proponent of this bill. You're being convinced, or otherwise may not have any impact on the law now, but at least he has tried to explain to you the position that he took to Parliament, which position has been accepted by the House. Are you convinced tonight?
Not at all. It has not been convincing at all. Because all the arguments he makes are arguments that have been made here again and again and have been responded to. He was talking about research in the U.S. and other places where it's been determined that the deterrent value of the death penalty has no effect. It is not accurate. You should go to Thailand. You should go to Malaysia. You go to those places where drug offenses are punishable by death and compare the rate at which people do drugs and to where in a situation where people are just, imprisoned and allowed to come back to enjoy their booty. It should do that. That the deterrent value of the death penalty is great. Omaro, every human action is motivated by the preservation of the individual's life. Everything you do, ask yourself, why do you do it? You do it because you want to preserve your life. And so anything that will put your life at jeopardy, you wouldn't want to do. So if that is taken away, then people are now free to do whatever they want because there is nothing that will jeopardize their life.
But are you not convinced by the argument of mistaken death? Are you not concerned that you may be accused tomorrow of killing someone? You, Dr. Harry Agbanu, you will put before court. There could be a challenge with the prosecution. You may not be heard properly. Something may have happened. And then you get sentenced to death, and then immediately you're hanged, only for it to emerge subsequently that you were not the one who committed that crime. You're not worried about such a situation?
It's not the punishment. The problem is the system. The punishment is not the problem. It's the system that is faulty. That must be worked on. Otherwise, then nobody should be punished for anything because there is a possibility of mistake. Even imprisonment, there could be mistake. Even whipping somebody, there could be mistake. So it's the system that we must be talking about, not the punishment per se. I agree that mistakes are made. Everywhere, no human institution is perfect. And so if we are afraid of mistakes and we are saying that because of mistakes, we are prescribing the death penalty, then there should not be any punishment regime. Because there are three objectives that every punishment regime must achieve, one or two. Deterrent is the very important one. Reformation or rehabilitation and restitution. Who says that if you go and steal somebody's money, I don't even know how to express this for your listener to understand. I'm saying that there is need for restitution, vengeance as an objective for punishment. People are talking about Jesus Christ and whatever. I don't get it.
Okay.
Are we only dealing with the New Testament, or we are understanding the New Testament from the perspective of the Old Testament?
Very well. Thank you for speaking to us, Doc. That's Dr. Harry Agbanu, a religious lecturer at the University of Ghana, who is not happy with the abolition of the death penalty and convinced by the argument. Honorable Francis Xavier Sosu, you may want to respond to him so that we end the conversation.
Well, let me just say that, look, punishment has evolved over the years. Historically, punishment was repressive. So if you recall, even in our cultural settings, there was human sacrifice, that's what we used to call pioneering, and so on and so forth. If you go to 14th century, 15th century, 16th century, all the way to the 19th century, there were all forms of very repressive punishment. Over the years, society evolved. Punishment moved from repressiveness to reform. And now, of course, on how you can...
Hello? Apologies, we lost the Medina Member of Parliament, Francis Xavier Sosu, but we're about to end our conversation anyway. He was sharing with us his view. He's a proponent of the bill that sought to abolish the death penalty, and which bill has been carried. The House of Parliament passes that, and also the death penalty now, I'm not sure whether the President will need to sign off before it becomes law, but the House has done its work, and so it's waiting for presidential assent to become law. It's an amendment of the Criminal and Other Offences Act. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. Return with more. Please stay with us.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
When shopping for a dress, you say,
of course, a low burst line, a little tight by the hips, covered sleeves, off shoulder, definitely.
But when buying anti-malarial drug, you say,
is it not malaria? Give me whatever is available.
Choose your malaria drugs the same way you choose your dress. Always ask for Coartem. It's also available in cherry-flavored dispersible tablets for children. Don't gamble with malaria. Choose right. Choose Coartem. If symptoms persist after 3 days, consult your doctor. Malaria testing should be done before treatment. This advert is FDA approved.
Pay attention, all my Africans and African Americans in the diaspora, plus my white brothers and sisters. What if I told y'all the most trusted real estate company in Ghana, Sukasa, would like to take y'all on a nationwide tour, highlighting prime real estate and investment opportunities. Sukasa builds affordable luxury homes with 2, 3, 4 bedrooms. Come get the real value for your money, plus they have very convenient payment policies with 100% guaranteed cash back. This fully gated or grandson communities include malls, cinemas, and all social amenities, plus 24-hour security. All you gotta do is sign up for the tour for a measly couple $1,000 and come see what could be yours in real life. The African dream is alive. Contact Sukasa on 030-296-0865 or 055-369-7886 at Sukasa GH on all social media platforms. Email info@sukasa.com.gh. The Sukasa experience is also bringing on board a bunch of other property developers, which means patrons get a variety of options to buy from. This is powered by Government of Ghana, Beyond and Return Secretariat, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Works and Housing, Diaspora Affairs, the Office of the President, British High Commission, and the UK Chamber of Commerce. Sukasa, building on trust.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
You're welcome back. Now, authorities at the Kintampo SDA Basic School in the Kintampo municipality of the Bono East region are appealing to authorities of the Municipal Assembly to come to their aid of the school to prevent frequent flooding of the Institute by ensuring that erosion that contributes to the flooding of the school are checked. The appeal follows the frequent flooding of the school last week after a heavy downpour. The authorities are also calling for a new classroom block. Speaking on behalf of the school's headmaster, Mr. Frank Abuduka, a teacher, says he shared their challenges they have been facing with the media outlets with Citi News.
This morning we came to school and realized that there was a video on a viral concerning our stream which has been flooded last Wednesday, a week tomorrow. And it's true, we intentionally didn't take the video, but since we were suffering, and then someone picked that video, and today we realized that it was on the social media that our school was being flooded by rain last Wednesday. And it's true, because I could testify that since last year we experienced this thing, because whenever it rains, it's not easy. The people, children in the streams, and the teachers will normally suffer, because rain normally flooded the whole streams. The whole block will be flooded by water, and unless we wait until it rains before we can get back to the classroom. At times, our learning materials were being even flooded. We cannot even get some of the items of the children because the parent bought it for them, but when it flooded like this, some of the things got mixed in. So it's true that SGA Stream C, we are experiencing this thing in Kintampo North. For SGA Stream C, our petition to public now is we need help for the new structure, because for now the school, not the flooding alone, even the roofing are all leaking. When it is raining and we are in the school, we cannot sit because the leakage alone is something that we cannot contain.
Frank Abuduka is a teacher of the Kintampo SDA Basic School in the Bono East region.
The man who represents them in Parliament is Joseph Kumar. He's NDC Member of Parliament for Kintampo North. Honorable, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Mr. Omar. How are we all?
We are doing well, just that your constituents are not well. Looking at the video is really heartbreaking. School children sitting on top of their tables and climbing onto the shed because there's this classroom which is just a shed. I don't see a wall and water is gushing through. And this is water, dirty water, flood water gushing through their classroom. And they've had to climb on top of the chairs. Otherwise, this water may wash some of them away. This has come to your attention, no?
Thank you very much for this opportunity to talk through your medium. I really appreciate your good work and for having intercepted this video that has gone viral. Colleagues of mine have pushed it to me too. And let me first of all thank the teacher for having seen something and made the world to see it by seeing it through the visual. If he had waited for the rains or the water to run off, who could have seen this? So I will congratulate that teacher for a yeoman's job. And Omar, to say this, I'm an education committee member. Edu Watch, myself, before this date, that was the last session, I made a statement on the floor of Parliament. And the title of my statement was, we should refocus on free compulsory universal basic education. The reason I made that statement and my issue is basically for the fact that we are concentrating or over-concentrating on free senior high, leaving the basic education to rot. As I'm telling you, Mr. Omar Sanda, not less than 5,000 dilapidated structures are we recording under basic education, which SDA school in Kintampo North is not an exception. That is in the city center. And it has come to light. That is in the heart of Kintampo Town, Omar. I know
you're saying that the school we are seeing in that video
it's in the heart of Kintampo Town.
And Kintampo is the heart of Ghana.
It's the heart of Ghana and the center of the universe. Omar, That is the center of the universe.
So it is not the outskirts of the town.
It's not the outskirts of the town. It's in the Kintampota. It's by the SDA Central School.
Is it a private school or a public school?
It is a public SDA public school.
And so the classrooms don't have walls. It's just
they
a shed.
They don't have walls. They are just short walls. You see, I said that is one out of the 5,000 dilapidated structures we are talking about.
And what caused this particular flooding? Do you know?
This particular flooding, Umaru, I would say, is the lack of Kintampo Township roads which are not fixed. The whole of the township roads are not fixed. The only motorable and enviable road we have passing through Kintampo is the Kintampo-Tamale Highway. The next one is the Municipal Assembly route, which President Kufuor time through our former MC called Razak lobbied for, which is just about a quarter of a kilometer. But the township roads, I can tell you, are up to 5 kilometers to be able to do it as a whole. You know, Kintampo town, the town itself is in a valley. It is in a valley because if you go upward, you see that it's hilly. And the topography of the land is such that it's steeply sloping. So any rains from the hills, then they gather and speed downwards. So as I'm telling you, because of the lack of good roads in the township, valleys have now developed. And this particular school, I'm gathering the information that they foresaw this thing, and so they've decided to even be putting up a wall on their own to prevent water from coming into the school. Either they've not been able to complete it yet because they are facing a challenge, and this water was able to run through the school.
I see.
The long and short story is that the problem is the township, the lack of good roads in the township. His Excellency President Mahama, as of 2015 rather, awarded the township roads for construction. When I came to Parliament, that was one of the first questions I raised. And the road minister came and testified that yes, the roads were given on contract. And that we owe government upon government, that from the NDC government and the current government, owe the contractor 26 billion, that's 2.6 million Ghana cedis. So when I asked why the contractor had left, because they had made drainage, they had made gutters at an area called, what is it called, Sunkwa. They made gutters at Chiramankama area, continuation area, and well filled with gravels. The Tagwana, that's the Zongo area. They filled all of them with gravels. But because of lack of continuity, all those gutters and drainage are broken down now.
I see. It is a very sad situation. I need to let you go, unfortunately, but thank you so much. I want to speak to the MC for the area, but thank you for speaking to us, Honorable.
Oh, very good.
So that's Joseph Kuma. He's a Kintampo North Member of Parliament. He's a people's representative there. Let's hear from the President's representative, Isaac Baffoy Ameao. He's the MC for Kintampo North. Sir, you're welcome to Eyewitness News. Have you seen this video that we are discussing?
Thank you, my brother. Yes, I've seen it.
What do you make of it?
Yeah, let me take this opportunity to thank you very much. Yes, this video on the Vara is one of the schools from Kintampo. It's just behind the Kintampo Municipal Assembly. That is the SDA School Street C.
So it's a school that is very close to your assembly?
Yes.
The place you work?
Yes.
What went wrong then? I mean, it's something you should be seeing every day. We are seeing the school under a shed, and the rain came and they've had to hop onto their tables. Pathetic.
Yeah, this is not the first time. I think this is the third time. The first one I saw it, that was the middle part of the 2022. I paid a visit to the school, and it told me that anytime it rains, the whole school gets flooded. Then the old school block, so it was a pavilion. So he appealed to the assembly whether the assembly can help them to construct a new classroom block, which I also made the promise that we also do that. The assembly have engaged a contractor to construct a 6-unit classroom block with office and staff common room for the school, which we will start ending of August. But unfortunately, because of the topographical nature of our area, Kintampo land is the whole place is a valley. So anytime it rains, the whole place gets flooded. It's not only the school, even including the assembly. So that is the problem we have in Kintampo.
So you're saying that the rain we saw in the school, if we had filmed your assembly, would have seen a similar thing?
Yes. Even what we need to do, one, we need to do the drainage system. We have a problem with the drainage system. We have to fix the drainage.
But Mr. Mayor, you shouldn't be saying to us what needs to be done. You should tell us what has been done. The MP who just spoke to us is an NDC MP. He says before John Mahama left, they were working on the road and then the project has halted. That is why there's a problem with the drainage, and then the lack of drainage is causing what is causing now. You should tell us what steps you've taken on this.
The first tie road in Kintampo was done by the NPP government through the former president.
Sorry, first what?
The first tied road was done by NPP government through the former president. 5 kilometers, and it's through. So any tie road we have in Kintampo now was done by the former president, NPP. Same time.
Former President Kufuor.
Yes, Kufuor.
Yeah, but they said that they left a project behind. Which project you failed to continue?
No, there's nowhere there's a project. You can just call Kintampo people and find out.
Okay, but see, you noticed this problem since 2020. You knew that the drains are problematic.
I came to office 2021 on the 13th October.
That's fine. That's
I paid a visit to the school.
And you saw that there's a problem with the drainage. I'm asking if you have done anything to fix the drains since you noticed this problem.
Yes, we have packaged the Kintampo town rules to the Ministry of Roads and Energy, 12.6 kilometers. And we have added that place. The work there is beyond the assembly, which we need the central government intervention to come and solve the problem. Like I told you, the topographical nature of the land there is sloping. So anytime it rains, the whole assembly, if you come to the assembly at the moment, anytime it rains, all the assembly area gets flooded. So we are even trying to do a pavement and also construct a drainage before we can solve this problem, which we have given it to the Ministry of Roads.
So it means that if it rains tomorrow, these children would have to climb on their tables again. Otherwise, the worst could happen.
Yes, that's the reason why the assembly have also come in, that we have to construct a 6-unit classroom block for them. And we are starting this in August.
But so I'm saying that for now, they have to deal with this situation.
No.
Will you move them from that classroom?
No. Anytime it rains, either we stop them from coming to school. If it is a heavy rain, they have to stop. But if it's a normal rains, they take their normal studies. But if it's a heavy rains, it means that they have to stop.
It is dangerous, sir, isn't it? Have you seen the video?
Yes, I saw the video. I said this is the third time. The first one, I paid them a visit. I saw it. And that's why the assembly have also put in measures in place to put a finished classroom block for a school.
So this is a disaster. Imagine if any of the children fell off the table into that water. They may die.
Yes. That's the reason why we have also did it as an emergency one.
If it's emergency, then you should tell us about something you're doing immediately, not to tell us about a package you have sent to the Ministry of Roads, which package we don't even know when it will be delivered.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, because it's not, this one is not any work that you can use 2 months, 3 months, or even 6 months to fix it.
Can't you build their school wall for them? Build a classroom block wall. Can't you do that? At least that one just needs cement and blocks.
So the rain, because the volume of water coming from that stretch, you come there and see it. It has developed a big gully.
And you can't do a brick for the water, maybe raise the wall, I don't know, something. Get the engineers to advise. You have a municipal engineer, sir?
Yes, we have been there. The engineer himself, the urban road engineer himself, I myself, we went there. And that is the reason why I told you that before we can solve the problem, we have to do a proper drainage system. First, even if we construct the school block and without the drainage, proper drainage, so the problem will still come.
So when do you hope to see the drains in town?
That's the reason why I said we have sent it to the Ministry of Roads and Highways.
I know, so I'm saying that, do we have any timeline we are working with? Have they told you that, we'll come and build your drain by this date or that?
As of now, no, but from my regional minister, there was a promise that Techiman have gotten 10 kilometers, Kintampo have also gotten 7 kilometers.
So
we
it
are
will
waiting
come.
for approval from, yes. So by all means, they will work on it.
Very well. Thank you so much for speaking to us, sir.
Yeah, thank you too, Omar.
That's Isaac Bafo Ameyao. He's the Municipal Chief Executive for Kintampo North in the Bono East region. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We have business news next and then Point Blank. Please stay with us.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
Get the details. Every significant financial transaction, every market movement, and all the policies that affect your business. Citi Business News. Be informed.
Hello and welcome to Citi Business News and Eyewitness News, brought to you by CitiBusinessNews.com. My name is Akosia Ocho. Let's settle for the details. The business community has refuted claims by the Bank of Ghana that tightening the monetary policy rate will help slow the country's inflation. The central bank on Monday raised the monetary policy rate by 50 basis points, pushing it up to 30% after a review of economic trends in the last 2 months. This means the cost of borrowing at banks has risen by 0.5% from the previous rate of 29.5%. Reacting to the development, President of GUTA, that's the Ghana Union of Traders Association, says contrary to the claims, inflation will spike after the tightening of the policy rate.
What we needed at this moment is to reduce the monetary policy rate so that the commercial lending rates will come down. The inflation that we are suffering in this country is cost-pushed. One means the accumulation of cost that businesses will have to pay when they are doing business. That's what is bringing this inflation that we are experiencing. So for Bank of Ghana to keep on increasing the monetary policy rate, to increase the interest rate that we pay on our goods, means that they are only compounding the problem of inflation.
Joseph Obeng is president of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA. Now the executive secretary of the Importers and Exporters Association, Samson Asaki Awengobet, says the decision by the BOG to increase the lending rate will worsen the plight of businesses.
From 5 to 17%, you remember, and was quick to ask commercial banks to actually also adjust their interest rate to fight inflation. Yet inflation went as far to 50%. Then now that the inflation rate has come to like 42 point something, you still come back again to say that you are increasing it by 50 points because you want to curtail inflation rate. I strongly believe that the Bank of Ghana doesn't care about the hardship that they impose on the business community. When the inflation comes down or when the prime rate comes down, they do not ask commercial banks to decrease their interest rate.
Executive Secretary of the Importers and Exporters Association, Samson Asaki Awingobet. Meanwhile, economist Professor Lord Mensah also indicates that the interest hike that would result in the tightening of the policy rate will negatively affect their businesses.
Going to have effect of not making more sales, because at the end of the day, disposable income to purchase more tends to reduce, and if it tends to reduce, quantums that are produced by businessmen, be it services or goods, may not be purchased as expected. On one hand, if you're talking about liquidity issues, availability of funds, and how businesses can have access to funds, this increment is going to build up into interest rate structures.
Professor Lord Mensah is an economist. Now, the Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, is expected to present the mid-year budget review to Parliament on Monday, July 31, 2023. The presentation, which was earlier slated for July 27, was later rescheduled to July 25. However, a few hours to the presentation, it was cancelled. In a communication to the House, the Speaker, Alban Bagbin, announced that ahead of the presentation, the Finance Minister will have an intensive engagement with members of Parliament on Friday, July 28. The Speaker also announced that the House will not sit on Wednesday, July 26, due to the National Development Conference, which will require the mandatory presence of members of Parliament.
We have a very important national event hosted by our partners in the church, and from His Excellency through my good self to the Chief Justice, the former presidents, some ministers, and all the important authorities in the country will have to convene to look at a very critical national agenda. In view of that, a number of members of Parliament are compulsorily to be present. And so we will not sit tomorrow. We will sit on Thursday, and on Friday, the Minister of Finance will be available to hold intensive meeting with members of Parliament.
Speaker of Parliament, Alban Sumana Kingsford Bagwin. Finally, Telecommunication Network MTN and the Economic and Organized Crime Office EOCO has signed a memorandum of understanding to collaborate and fight mobile money fraud in the country. The MOU signing ceremony took place at the EOCO head office in Accra with representatives from both MTN Ghana and the EOCO office. Now, the Chief Sales and Distribution Officer of MTN Ghana, Shaibu Haruna, said the network will stop at nothing to nip mobile money fraud in the bud.
Provider of digital financial services, we owe it a responsibility to work collaboratively with the agency to support and drive a quest to make sure that our customers experience safe environment to transact their business as well as personal transactions. As you well know, mobile money has become an integral part of our daily lives as individuals and as businesses. And we are grateful to our consumers for supporting the growth of this business.
Chief Sales and Distribution Officer of MTN Ghana, Shaibu Haruna, speaking there. Now, COP Mamet Yatiwa Adodankwa, Executive Director of EOCO, also said her outfit will not spare any effort in ensuring that those involved in mobile money fraud face the full force of the law.
How do we stay ahead of economic and organized crime? Is it because we are just saying it with our mouth, or do we really want to stay ahead? And I want to tell you that we really want to be ahead. Sometimes I feel sad when we hear some people saying the criminals are ahead of us. the criminals are ahead of us. And we shouldn't continue to be comfortable with that saying that they are ahead of us. They shouldn't be ahead of us. We should be ahead of us. And to be ahead of them, we need to collaborate. We need to work together. If the criminals are working together, what about those of us who are fighting?
COP Mameya Tiwa Adodankwa is Executive Director of EOCO. And that's it for City Business News on Eyewitness News. It was powered by your most comprehensive business news website, citybusinessnews.com. My name is Akosia Otre. Up next is Point Blank.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Hey, you ever buy credits where you get up to 20% of your money back before? Make I tell you about Vodafone's demo promo. See, anytime you recharge a demo, you get up to 20%, whether it be short code or your Vodafone cash wallet, or you don't use credit transfer to your number or someone else. And now you be high tech, so you don't use my Vodafone app or any payment app. However you do, Vodafone go send you up to 20% cash back. Into your Vodafone cash account. Reload here. Top up your airtime with 5 Ghana cedi or more in Vodafone's demo promotion and receive 20% of your money back straight into your Vodafone cash wallet. Recharge and cash out in the Vodafone demo promotion.
Vodafone, further together.
Bro, what's up? I beg, where the Total Energy service station day for here?
Still up here. Tornado. Charlie. I beg. Make I take picture with you first, then I go show you the Total station. Today, Instagram go cry. Hey! Oh, about the directions. Go forward small. You go meet a watch say like Santan. The Total station is right after.
Thanks, bro. But now you know be Total. It be Total Energies. You the bab.
Tornado. You do all. Quiet.
The time is here, starting 24th July. Buy fuel or lubricants from any Total Energy service station and win free amazing prizes instantly. Promo is valid while stocks last. Terms and conditions apply. Total Energies, energizing your future.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/City97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/City973, and Instagram at instagram.com/City973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
News on 97.3 Citi FM. My name is Omar Sandama. On Point Blank tonight, we're talking about the domestic debt exchange and the consequence thereof, where a number of groups kicked against that. Senor Hosi is one of the persons who's been leading the groups that have been not fighting in the right sense of the word, but taking the government on over the domestic debt exchange program. He has resigned that position. He said he will not do it anymore. We'll be asking him why. But before then, let me speak to Abraham Amaliba. He is the Director of Legal Affairs of the National Democratic Congress. The party has been dealt a bloody nose again today in the Supreme Court when he went to file a review application on James Jachikwesin. Counsel, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you for having me, Moro.
You went to the Supreme Court for the Supreme Court to depart from its earlier decision on James Jachikwesin. Tell us why, and what do you make of the judgment today against you?
First and foremost, this is an application for review of the ruling that was given by the Supreme Court, whose effect was to say that Jachikwesin should be removed from Parliament and his name expunged from the records. And so this is the application that was refused today by the Supreme Court. In our view, the grounds upon the reasons for which we went for the review was based on some errors of law. Others had to do with the Supreme Court's own misrepresentation or misreading of some provisions of the law. But the Supreme Court indicated to us that our grounds were not sufficient enough for them to overturn their own ruling.
But why was it necessary? The gentleman has been re-elected. His name is in the records of Parliament anyway. Why was it necessary for you to go and seek that expunging removed?
It's because of our belief that the Supreme Court erred, and the fact that we needed to exhaust the entire process. And so now that we've come to the end of the road, yes, we will now be satisfied that we've explored all avenues, but we're not able to overturn it.
So that's it. You're not going to ask for any more. You are done.
No, we can't. That's the end of the road. There must be an end to litigation, and this is where it ends.
Clearly, you are not happy, but you would have to accept the decision of the Supreme Court.
That is so.
Well, we leave it here for now. Thank you for speaking to us.
Yeah, thank you.
That's Lawyer Abraham Amaliba. He is Director of Legal Affairs of the National Democratic Congress, NDC. Senor Hosi was the convener. Today he has penned his resignation letter. He said he won't do the job again. And he hasn't said why, even though he celebrated the work that they did together. Senor, you're welcome to Point Blank.
Thank you very much.
So people know Senor Hosi as former Seaboard boss. He's doing his own private consultancy. He's growing rice in, what's the name of the town in Volta region where you're growing rice?
Adaklu and
Hueta. So he's doing a number of things, but he's also the guy who led the team that built the hospital, the COVID-19 infectious disease center at the Guy's hospital. But now he's been doing bondholder business. Why have you quit your job? You are working for the people, doing it, which is what you like to do. You have One Ghana movement, working for the people. Why have you decided to quit? Or are you following Cecilia Dapaah?
Maybe I should also be a houseboy to help. Well, it's been a journey, Umaru. This is not a full-time job, but it demands full-time attention. And I have sacrificed 7 months of my time, energy, and resources towards this particular cause, which I believe in. I respond very negatively to bullies. And the same way I responded to COVID, which I felt was bullying humanity and my country, the same way I respond to things that I think are in some form economic bullies. But it's a time to develop things, a time to set things right, and also a time to move on. We set up the forum and always had in mind that there'll be a time to move on. I have been privileged to have walked the space of public policy advocacy. I'm an economic policy analyst. I'm a business person. I've advised people on various investments from time to time. And I understand the implications of what was happening at the time. Frankly, I think Citi FM is one of my problems. When you had the debt, you had a conversation about the debt and forum sometime in December, and ended up making me quite a central feature of it. Played it too many times. I became a go-to person for a lot of people who didn't understand the situation. And I could actually relate to the despair and the distress people were experiencing, and the absence of a voice. I understand the workings of public policy, and I knew that that voice could only be heard through a collective action, and took the initiative with other friends to organize people for them to harness the potential of that collective power. And I think that has been brought to light. I initially didn't intend to lead the entire advocacy, but really to organize them, because I have lobby experiences from the chamber and all that. So we did that, but still realized that the skill will be required going forward, which I brought to bear. And with the structures we've put in place, I want to believe, and the successes we've clocked now, we've practically cleared almost payments for almost everyone. We've improved payments for those, we've improved the terms of the DD for those who decided to sign. At the beginning of the offer for individuals, people are going to lose 50% of their wealth. We're able to change that to 19% loss and 33% loss. And for others, created a policy option that is defensible, both legally and also affirmed in policy, for them to actually retain 100% of their investments. And for those people, we do not just achieve that and get pronouncement by the president in parliament, by the minister, get government to officially write it, advocate fiercely for it. We actually proved that it was possible to make sure everybody's payment was received. With the liquidity challenges that have been there, we've also come up with a structure, which I also led together with my colleagues. And we've signed an MOU with government to have that implemented. That may happen sometime in September. But the nuances of this job is quite daunting. I've not had a life.
I'll come back. So tell me about the life. This is Point Blank on Eyewitness News. My name is Umaru Sandamado. My guest is Senyo Hosi. He just resigned as convener of the Individual Bondholders Forum Ghana. He's just cataloging for us the things that they did together when they formed that forum. But now he believes it's time to put the job down. So you were saying that it has been taking a toll on you.
It has, not on myself, my business, because I've not paid it the right attention. Of course, when you take governments on, it has implications on your person, it has implications on your business. And honestly, managing the interests of all these 300,000 people is quite a big ask on anyone. It's a calling. It's something you must respond to in real service. And you must have the time committed to it. At this juncture, I just realized, and I've informed, this is a conversation that's been going on for about a month or so, that I am really bending my businesses and its attention by my absence, prioritizing this particular interest. Because when you wake up in the morning, you see 300,000 lives that are affected. You meet people in the streets, and they tell you about their harrowing stories, how desperate and how much in distress they are. You have a responsibility to really walk them through. At this juncture, look, Umaru, everybody's principal and coupons are paid, at least at the date of advising the convenience of my formal resignation. I'd already indicated I wanted to, when I actually clear this particular path. I'm hopeful that we'll have a good replacement soon. And that should be announced in a couple of days.
So you're not leaving because of any fight with anybody on the committee?
There are always fights in big groups like this. That's why I use the word pain. There have been even instances of quite some hurt and pain because of the way some people have conducted themselves. Umaru, I don't have my skin in the game directly, no. I don't carry any of the bonds that I exposed to the DDE. What I carry, I never talk about. I don't fight for it. It's a call and then a conviction, an honest conviction that I pursued because I could truly relate to their lives that were at stake, Umaru. So you expect that those who are really exposed should show stronger commitment. To be honest, it's one of my major disappointments. And I think it reflects where we are as a people and as Ghanaians. And it also creates a very bleak future for us as a country. Because the middle class is so apathetic and so aloof. And I think the middle class is too inward looking. The sense of sacrifice for another is weak because everybody is thinking of how to protect their skin. See a lot of people who just get paid. When they get paid, they run out of the group. People to even contribute sometimes is quite a difficult thing because people in Ghana, we want everything but want to give almost nothing. So that's want to always get something or to sacrifice anything. It doesn't help us as a country. It doesn't help the psyche. That's why people don't want to rise up and defend that which is right because it's happening to somebody else. It only matters when it's happening to them. I think that it's a wake-up call to all of us to respond to that call of nationhood, to fight for that which is right and that which is fair, not just for ourselves, but also for our kith and kin, our brothers, and our fellow citizens. Because the future of Ghana is embodied in our collective commitment to the cause of our country and that which is just and right. But the middle class, which is supposed to carry us along, you see that weakness. And I don't know if it's years of fear that we've got politics to really drive, or it is a political patronage environment that we have that has really gotten people to become relatively timid. People shout and scream when you can't see them. So you go to social media, people insult anybody, put them in front of anything, they are running away. It means you don't even believe in what you say. Getting people out there sometimes have been difficult. And I'll be honest with you, sometimes it felt like a lonely journey. Very, very lonely journey. Even people making contributions towards their own good, to even pay legal fees, were difficult. I'm telling you.
They don't want to lose anything.
I mean, but they want to get everything. You understand? And I'm just wondering, how can you be crying more than the bereaved? You see, and it's just symptomatic of what we really are as a country. When we see on injustices being meted to others, as long as it's not us, we don't want to talk about it. When we saw the economy being ill-run by years of political, maneuverings, to the extent that we're still getting what we wanted, we're fine. But we didn't realize the implications to that guy in Choko, that guy in Clever Demete, that guy in Asuchari. In fact, that Fulani guy in Asuchari. So we don't care. I mean, honestly, I'm very worried. That's why I think that the politicians we all attack quietly in our corners and would always get away with whatever it is that they want. Because they reflect who we are.
I've worked with you before. You work like a horse, like boxer in Animal Farm. Could it be the case that the people you're working with are not able to simply catch up with your energy level? Maybe your energy level is crazy.
No. I mean, the reason right is I can't deliver that kind of energy that's required. That's why I have to.
You don't have the motivation.
I don't have the motivation. I don't have the time resources. I need to also spend time on my business.
Are you sure it's actually, because it sounds like this is a diplomatic thing you're saying, but there's really...
See, I think that...
Did you have disagreements, serious disagreements as convenience that have led to this?
No. We've had issues before. I mean, I've been public about my disappointment in people trying to malign my personal reputation, which is one of the biggest things I came to this party with. And can you imagine? I don't have anything at risk. I sacrifice my money. I sacrifice my time. I sacrifice my knowledge, my skill, my relationships, my network to get us collectively, together with other people also contributing theirs to this far. And the people you are fighting just turn around and start insulting, attacking you. Attacking your that is
that's what they did to you.
Oh, it happened. That happened. But we moved on. Because the goal here is not about 1, 2, or 3 people or a group of 400 people. I see 300,000 lives who don't even have a voice at all. So let's get it done.
But they are still there. So why are you leaving them now?
I think we're putting the structure. So right now,
I think you've reached a certain level where they can be on their own.
I think that others should also take up the mantle, and we are putting structures for sustainability going forward. When you go on the IBF website, realize that it's quite a relatively well-structured organization, but everything is driven on volunteerism. The volunteerism, unfortunately, in Ghana is weak. You see it everywhere. In our politics, I've been to the congresses and the conventions of our 2 political parties. I've done that, both as a student leader, as a business person, and being quite as an inquisitive person. How many of people you see there are there volunteering for the cause of a philosophy that they believe in that will turn around the prospects of their country? Everybody there is looking for what to collect from some honorable. They are always looking for what to rip somebody off. And when the people turn around and rip them, they complain. I don't get it. We do not want to sacrifice a thing for anything, but we want to enjoy everything. That orientation is not what made Ghana. That's why our national anthem talks about the blood and toil of our fathers. But today, the average Ghanaian doesn't want to toil for anything. The average Ghanaian politician doesn't want to toil for anything. Before he even gets there, the people who have to put him, they don't want to toil for anything. They particularly want you to even pay them for you to serve them. I don't get it. You see, so there's a problem with the psyche of us as a people. And if we don't fix that, especially from our apathetic and inward-looking middle class, this country has very little future. And I don't know what we are going to be leaving for our children and our children's children. The fact that you can pay for your children to go to an international school does not mean that you should care less about that public school and what's really happening to that guy in Pantan GSS and primary school. Because your children will have to still live in the same economy with them. And they cannot be the only people who are eating in the country. You cannot be the only one with light in the village. Everybody will come to your house to watch TV. You won't have your peace.
So get everybody the light.
Get everybody the light. I mean, there's a problem. Our selfish orientation, that's one of my biggest revelations here. And it's the middle class. When we started this, the first thing everybody was calling me about was, Senor, they are going to come for you. Yes, I won't lie. My business has suffered for this. There's no doubt about that. My business relationships have suffered for it. I've had to apologize to some of my partners because my personal pursuit of social justice has affected everybody's collective interest. I've had to. And those who are hearing me, I'm so sorry. But I have no regrets. It's my country. It's the only country we have. It's the only country we call ours. I tell them, take your children to America, take them to London, school them everywhere. They can speak like them, talk like them, but it will never be them. So we have a responsibility to fix our country. All the monies that everybody keeps grabbing and grabbing and grabbing, what do we end up using it for? Taking our children to universities, outside, vacations, outside, trips, outside, buying external, and I don't get it. Are you going to live your life as an American, but you want to come and lord it over Ghanaians and take it from here? We have something missing, and we have to fix it. And till the middle class realizes its voice and stands up fearlessly, there's very little that will change. We showed with this that when we stand collectively and are fearless about it, we can shape right the path of this country. But you can't do it by hiding under the table.
Let's leave it here. Thank you for joining us for Point Blank, Senor.
Pleasure, man, Omaro.
Senor Hosi, my senior from Temasco, senior anchorite on Point Blank. That would be it for Eyewitness News tonight. My name is Umaru Sandama. The production by Wilson Kwabna and Sami Wiafi with technical support from Daniel Squashi and Edwin Kwakofi, a fellow anchorite as well on the new media side of things. Eyewitness News is back tomorrow at 17:30 GMT. Thank you for listening. Have a good night.